Everybody is on campus for Arizona basketball, and what exactly does that mean? Can this be Tommy Lloyd's best team? Can it be his deepest team?
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. Today's episode is brought to you today by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Locked On College at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Okay, we're going to talk all Arizona basketball this show. We are going to talk. Basically all the players that are here now, and where just kind of everything factors in when it comes to the U of A. So all players are here except for CD. CD, obviously, that's a situation that's a little bit different because of the visa, you kind of get that one. I get that. But everybody else right now is here. Mabel's here. So we're going to talk about everybody that is here and everybody that is all the comings and goings, if you will. All right. So Yvonne is now on campus. So again, Yvonne, that is obviously a big thing for the University of Arizona. At that small forward position, small forward position, we're kind of in a spot where, it's going to be a three-horse race, for lack of a better term. It's going to be ADO, who we're going to get to in just a second. It's going to be ADO. It's going to be Yvonne, and it's going to be Aristode. And those are going to be the guys that are going to be in there for it. Yvonne looks the part, though. I mean, like I said, we've talked about this before. Yes, Yvonne looks the part. He's got to be able to show it, but just watching his clips, watching everything that he did while he was while he was playing against some of the best players in the country, it's kind of hard to sit here and say that, that he shouldn't be expected to have a fairly prominent role. And I think that's what everybody's hoping for. So, you look at that small forward position, and I guess we'll just start there since we started there. You got Yvonne. How he adapts to the college game will be fascinating, mainly because he's a player that you watch him and he's very tough defensively already. Not only is he tough offensively, he's also somebody that defensively, he can really get in there. He's not the greatest shooter in the world, but he's more than equipped. And when you watch guys like that, I think that is the question that you generally have is, are they ready to actually go ahead and play? And that's something that we're going to see. But I think he's ready to rock and roll. I think he's going to be good. I think between Aristode, Yvonne, and ADO, I think Arizona is going to be more than okay at that position. I don't see any way that they won't be. So obviously that's something that's going to be very interesting to watch there. But ADO, everybody saw the pictures. ADO has put on some muscle. Not only has he put on a little bit of muscle, he is also coming out there, and it looks like he's feeling pretty good about himself. And honestly, he should be. He is like I said, he's a guy that I think got kind of a bum rap this past year. He was a really good shooter, and he made some huge shots. And I think that's something that we can't really minimize. We can't really look past here because, again, he showed the ability to be able to make some plays. And, like I said, and I'll always think about that Oregon game. That Oregon game was vintage, where he was just essentially doing what he wanted to do at the end of the game. And, like I said, Oregon, they kept fouling him and he kept making the shots. So there was, it was like I said, it was a pretty impressive stuff. So, but I'm fine with the small forward situation. Dwayne Aristo has been here as well, obviously. I think that the thing with Dwayne is you just want Dwayne to be healthy. If Dwayne's healthy, then this is a player that's got one and done type potential. He's that good. So you obviously, if that happens, Arizona's in a nice little spot. Okay, now, let's talk a little bit about now where we're at with that shooting guard position. Braden Burries is here, and Braden Burries has looked every bit the part, of what you're hoping for. You watch Braden Burries, and he's a scorer. I actually don't hate the James Harden comparison. I actually think that's a pretty good one, to be honest with you. He is you watch James Harden, and he was never a next level athlete. And I'm not saying that Braden Burries is going to be as good as James Harden, but he's got that kind of herky jerky mold to him. He's kind of got that, that play where you're like, oh, interesting. And he's, like I said, there's a lot to like about him. He's not a next level athlete, but he is a scorer. And that is the biggest thing, is that he is a scorer. And Arizona needs somebody to be able to do that, to be able to replace what Caleb Love brought to the table, because what Caleb Love brought to the table was immense. He was somebody that you watch him, and he was just able to score the ball. And I think that's something that, Arizona fans, can't really minimize. He was looking to score the ball. You know it when you see it. And I think Braden Burries needs to be that guy. Keep in mind, too, and we're going to keep talking about it, Braden Burries is also 20 years old. So it's not like he's coming in here as a 17-year-old where you're like, man, there's got to be a lot of growing pains for him. There's not going to really be any of that. Again, how good is he going to be? We'll find out, but he's going to be very, very good. So, like I said, there's obviously that. All right. So now let's talk then a little bit about Jaden Bradley. I think there's another step for Jaden Bradley. I really do. I think that when you watch him, and you watch how he plays, he's somebody that I think it's fair to say that he's going to be a really, really good player for Arizona this year, and I think he's going to be better. The key, I think, for Jaden's success is being able to go out and essentially be able to go out there and be able to shoot the three, because again, he's got a very rare ability to be able to get back, to be able to, when a team is kind of collapsing defensively or whatever, he has got a very rare ability to be able to find those crevices and to be able to get in there and, like I said, and get a layup, get an easy bucket, whatever the case may be. He's been very, very good at that. And he is, like I said, he's steady. The coaching staff loves him, comes from good stock, comes from a good family. Defensively, he's a pest. He's exactly what you want. He's exactly what you want with, what you're looking for, basically. So we shall see. Now, the next thing that I think we need to look at then is, how does that backcourt play out? Because again, you've got those two guys, and then you've got those two guys, and then you've got essentially Evan Nelson. So what do you get out of Evan Nelson? I think Evan Nelson is going to be playing about 7 to 8 minutes per game, something like that. I think that he, you watch Evan, and I'm a big fan of Evan. Like I said, he can make the open three. He can get the ball up the court. And I think, honestly, that's pretty much all you're looking for, is what can he do in that realm? Can he give you 7 to 10 minutes? And I think he can. Listen, I think he's going to be a lot better than Conrad Martinez. And I think with Conrad Martinez, that's not really that's not really a diss. I'm just saying that Evan's bigger. He's physically stronger. He's just able to do a lot more things. And I think that, like I said, that's a good thing for the University of Arizona, is what he's able to do. And Arizona didn't really have anybody quite like him. Again, I don't expect him to be Justin Kier, but I do expect him to be able to, how do I put this? I expect him to be able to, be competent. Because, again, and I got to give Conrad some credit. When Conrad was called on, Conrad was decent, but that was also just a lot of hot smoke from Tommy Lloyd. He clearly didn't think that Conrad was good enough to be able to really play consistently. And I think that just kind of showed, out, to be honest with you. So either way, Evan Nelson's going to play some. Now, does that mean that Evan Nelson is going to play, 15, 20 minutes? Probably not, but 7 to 10, something like that. And I think you feel pretty much okay with that. So we shall see. Now, the other thing, too, that when I look at this lineup, I'm also wondering, too, on the perimeter, where is, who is going to be that go-to guy? And that go-to guy is, I think it's going to be Braden Burries. Now, I think the go-to guy on this entire team is going to be somebody totally different, and we're going to get to him in a minute. But as far as the scoring on the perimeter, I think it's going to be Braden Burries, and I think it's going to be, because, again, that's what he's equipped for. He's equipped to be able to come in, make some plays, and, like I said, get to the basket. Yeah. Yeah. And so he is, like I said, he's the player that, you just kind of look at and you're like, all right, well, we'll find out what he can do. But I think he's in a very good spot here for the U of A, and I think that's going to be something that's going to be interesting. Now, if you want to go watch these guys, because there's going to be somebody that I think is going to be the one that really sticks out. We're going to talk about what he can bring, because there's an underrated detail to that. But first, Monarch Money, my friends, Monarch Money. Okay, here's the deal with Monarch Money. Again, this is, we've been talking about this for the longest time. If you're getting in there and you're looking around, and you're like, man, I'm not getting quite as much money, or I don't know exactly where all my money is going, Monarch Money is here to help. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over everything. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. That's the best part about it, too. You're not just managing, you're going to start making money. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. Now, pick one question to answer, and they're going to have one for you at that point. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool thing about it. And I would say, too, that I didn't realize, like I said, how much money I was spending on stuff that I could just go up and down the street and get, like food. I mean, you can save a lot of money. Monarch Money is there. Monarch Money can help you in that regard. Now, take control of your finances with monarchmoney.com. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at Monarch Money for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. And like I said, too, the other thing, it's a one-stop shop. That's what's so cool about it. You go in there and you know exactly what you're going to get. Like I said, you're not going to have to go to 5 different apps or anything like that. You're going to be able to get them, and they're going to be able to get you taken care of. So again, Monarch Money, check it out. Thanks for giving it a Locked On Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. Locked On, your team every day. Okay, now let's talk up front then. The player that I think is going to be the go-to player for the University of Arizona this year is going to be Koa Peat. I think he is the one. I think he's the furthest along. I think he's got the best skill set. I think he's pretty much, like I said, I think that he's pretty much the guy that is going to be the one that is going to make a lot of different plays. And watching him, you can just kind of see why. He's bigger than everybody else. He's stronger than everybody else. And he's more skilled than everybody else. I mean, he's going to be an absolute problem in the Big 12. And he's going to be a problem, I think, from day one, because, again, he's not coming off the court. Tommy Lloyd and TJ Benson, they did a great job recruiting this young man. You watched him, and, there was a long time I'm like, I don't know. It just felt like a weird recruitment. Felt like Arizona wasn't going to get him. But Arizona got the right financial package. Not only did they get the right financial package, they also got, like I said, they were able to sell him on, what he could be here. And I think a big part of that, is how they played in the NCAA tournament. And that Tommy Lloyd's never had anybody like him. Tommy Lloyd's never had a power forward that had the skill level, like I said, that a Koa Peat does. And that's, like I said, that's definitely a good thing, because, you watch Arizona over the years. And, like I said, he's had a good, power forward situation, but there's never been just a guy that just takes your team on the back at the end of the game and just kind of takes over. Zoo was really good, but Zoo wasn't really that guy. Keyshawn Johnson, solid NBA player, not quite that guy, obviously. And then, obviously last year, Trey Townsend, not that guy. I think Koa Peat's going to be the one that is going to be I think it's going to be fairly easy to see early on that this is going to be the best player on the Arizona basketball team. And I don't know that anybody should really sit there and be surprised by that. So Koa, to me, is going to be that dude. He's obviously part of that 9 deep. And what's exciting too about him is that he's a guy that you watch him, and he is a he's a player that he just, like I said, he just gets better and better and better. He's played for Tommy Lloyd now. He knows what it's like. Obviously, he's been to practices. This is going to be, like I said, this is going to be a lot of fun to watch this and just see how this progresses, because there's a lot to like about, where Koa Peat is and what he can do and what he can bring to the table. Now, the Tobe Awaka, he's here. I love Tobe. Again, when I first watched Tobe, I thought that it was going to take I'll just be honest, I wasn't that impressed by Tobe. I didn't think that Tobe was that good. Not only did I not think he was that good, I think that he is, I think it's kind of fair to say at the, I think that he is the, I think it's fairly safe to say that he was a lot better than I thought he was going to be. So there's that. So I watch him though. I just need more of what you had last year. He's a player that, like I said, when you watch him, you don't probably give him proper due, but then it's just game after game. He's relentless. We talked about it. If Trey had played like Tobe Awaka, Arizona would have been awesome last year, because I think Trey had some more natural skills. Tobe was tough though, rebounder, finisher, and we'll see, but supposedly they're working on extending his range. I don't know that I see that, but we'll see. Like him a lot, though, and I think that he's obviously somebody that's going to be very, very good for Arizona. And, he's squarely in that rotation. The Cats love him. He is a player, like I said, too, that, he's just going to keep getting – he's just going to – as the season went on last year, he got better and better, and as he got more of his role, as he got more of it. And I think Tommy's going to have an even better understanding of how to use him this year. You look at his shooting percentages, I think that they're going to try to get him to shoot some threes. And, for the people that say it can't be done, well, he let Keyshawn Johnson shoot threes, and Keyshawn became a decent 3-point shooter. So, and then Mo Crevis, a lot riding on Mo. Tommy Lloyd is the, how do I put this? He's said from day one, he said that the offense last year was going to be geared around Mo, which is quite a statement when you think about some of the players that Arizona had, but he obviously thinks a great deal of Mo. And, I'm just going to sit here and say that I don't know that we shouldn't be totally confident in what Tommy Lloyd has to say, because Tommy Lloyd also, he's been right on Umar Ballo. He's been right on some of these other guys he's developed, especially big men. Well, look at what he did with Christian Coloco. Tommy understands big men. And, when he says that Mo's a stud and this is going to be a good one, I'm going to take him at face value. Now, again, Mo looks really slow to me, and I know he was dealing with injuries, but I'm also going to go with what Tommy Lloyd has to say on this one. Mo is squarely in that rotation. And so we've broken down 8 guys that are absolutely part of that rotation. And there's probably room for one more if you look at the minutes. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. Locked on your team every day. All right, now the next, I think the next aspect though that we need to look at is who is going to be that 9th man. Because if you look at it, and I just kind of got the minutes breakdown here. Let's say that Jaden Bradley plays 30. Let's say Braden Burries plays 30. Let's say ADO, Aristode, and Yvonne combined for 40. So that's 100 minutes right there. And then you got Koa Peat 30, Tobe 20, Mo Crevis 20. There's 170. There's 30 minutes left over. So there's going to be time there for somebody like like a CD Gay to be able to get some minutes. There's going to be a time for a guy like an Evan Nelson to be able to get some minutes. And I think you got to look at it and be like, okay, well, where exactly do those fit in? And to me, it's Evan that's got to play. And we'll get to CD here in a minute, but I think Evan has got to play. I think Evan has got to play probably 6, 7, 10 to 10 minutes per game, nothing more than that. But I think he's going to have to be able to be relied upon to give a breather each half a little bit. And I don't see why there's any reason they can't. He's a big dude. He's strong. He's physical. Coaching staff likes him. And again, he doesn't need to come in and be Jason Terry. He's just got to come in and he's got to be competent. And if he's competent, then Arizona's, like I said, going to be in good shape. Now, the one with the highest, how do I put this? The one with the highest upside is CD. Watch CD for 5 seconds and you'll be like, oh, that guy looks like he could play in the NBA. His problem, obviously, though, is, being from Senegal. There's a travel visa restriction, but I still believe that he'll be here. And assuming he's here, I think you're looking at somebody that's going to be the starting center for Arizona in a year, because obviously Tobe graduates. Who knows what's going on with Mo? And I think that CD is, the way he can move, the way that he can score, he's unique. He's very unique. And you want to be able to get him on campus. If you can get him on campus this year, get him playing, obviously get him with Chris Rounds. That's a good thing. That's something that you want. And that's something that I think that Arizona, could really, really benefit from. And obviously CD could benefit from it as well. But those are the two players that I think are most equipped to be able to get some of those minutes. And I think Evan's somewhat of a wild card in all of this. Now, some of the other guys, Bryce James, I don't expect Bryce to play much this year. I think it's going to take Bryce a year or two. But the James family is well aware of that. They're aware of where Bryce is in the pecking order of basketball. And Mabel, obviously, bring him in as well. I think he's another possible redshirt candidate. He's going to take a while. He's very skinny, but he's shown he can shoot the three. There's a lot to like about Mabel. He's just got to, like I said, I think he's just got to stay the course. Great kid. You see him going around Michaela, or excuse me, with like the headphones and everything. He's a cool dude. So that's kind of where it's at. Now, my expectations are, I think this can be Tommy Lloyd's best team. I really do. He is last year just never quite clicked. A little bit obviously was because of injuries. Henry obviously helped. Caleb become a monster at the end of the season, but you ran into Duke, which was literally the worst matchup possible for Arizona. I thought Arizona played well in that game, and you gave Duke a real run for their money. Duke was just better, and Duke was always going to beat Arizona. I think had they gotten a different matchup, they could have gone farther, because like I said, they were playing pretty good ball at that point, and Caleb Love was certainly playing good ball. But I think this team can break through. I think this is a team that can make damage in the second weekend, and who knows from there. You got there, because I don't know that I look at that. I don't know that I look at any team and say, man, they're just light years better than Arizona. As a matter of fact, I don't see that. And I think Arizona is going to show that. I think Arizona is also going to benefit big time from being in the Big 12. Being in the Big 12 is a massive good thing for Arizona, because like I said, you look at it and you're just kind of like, all right, well, you're going to be going against top flight competition. Not only are you going to be going against top flight competition, you also know as well that this is going to be a situation where Arizona can get better, and I think that's what you're going to see. All right, now tomorrow we are going to talk about Big 12 power rankings when it comes to basketball and football, the revenue sports, and where exactly everybody does land in all of this. And I think the problem is that like I said, there's some teams that are just real dregs. There's teams at the top that are, like I said, I think they're good, but they're generally lacking in one sport. It's where Arizona is interesting, because Arizona's, a season removed from 11 wins. Last year, they get 4 wins. I think you're kind of thinking, okay, what can Arizona make that next step? Can they get to the top? But there's a couple right now that look really good in all of that. BYU, Texas Tech, they feel like they're both pretty darn good in that. So we will, like I said, that's going to be an interesting one to throw out there. Then you got some ones like Colorado and ASU. I don't really, like I said, with Colorado, they stink. Dion is going, obviously, that is what it is. Their basketball is awful, so that's hard to put up there. Same with ASU. I think Dilly's got a lot going for him, but the problem also, though, is still that it is you got ASU basketball and you got Bobby Hurley there. And that's why Arizona, like I said, I know last year Brent Brennan was bad, but we don't know for a fact yet that he's not good. We know for a fact that somebody like Bobby Hurley isn't good. Then you got Kansas, obviously. They're an interesting one. They're an interesting one in all of this. So got a lot to talk about on the show, but wanted to talk about everybody that's going on, everything that's going on with Arizona. Can this team be 9 deep? And I think there are, because I think there's the minutes there. And if their minutes are there, then I think that, it's going to be interesting to see, what exactly Arizona does. But I think it can also be Tommy Lloyd's best team. All right. Like I said, tomorrow coming back, going to be breaking down the Big 12, where everything is with that. and just kind of like the power rankings of the different schools, what Brett Yormark is up to, because Brett Yormark is always up to something. That is how Brett Yormark rolls. But good times to be an Arizona fan. And like I said, with the basketball team, you got a pretty deep team. So we're going to see how that plays out. But as always, very, very much appreciate you all making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. I'm your host, Mike Luke. Bear down, back the A, and we will be back with you tomorrow. Locked On, your team every day.